So this here is the Astrolux WP3, and it's the longest range flashlight that I've ever tested on my channel. And it's a large head LEP flashlight, and that stands for laser excited phosphor flashlight. And this one uses a mirror module. So basically it shines a laser onto the mirror, down onto the phosphor, and reflects out visible white light. And basically, this thing is like a handheld searchlight or a lightsaber. It's absolutely insane. Pushes out about 562 lumens. It doesn't seem like much, but it focuses all of that light into a very small hotspot, producing about 3.1 kilometers of range. So the UI is pretty simple. Basically, you just press the button once and it goes to the high mode. Press again and it goes to low. And you can double press for a turbo. Press and hold to turn off. There is also a strobe, so triple press, but that's pretty much it. So in terms of what you get with the light, Astrolux include a 21700 cell battery. Now, they also include this spacer, but if you take it out, you can use a 26650 battery. I don't actually have one of those. I have a 26800. That would fit in there, but it's not able to screw on. It's just a little bit short, but I think you can actually buy an extension tube, a 26800 extension tube, if you want, from the Astrolux website. This is the box that the WP3 comes in. It's pretty simple, pretty basic. You also get an instruction manual and a couple of spare O-rings plus this lanyard. So Banggood also sent me this 10x20 monocular with the Astrolux WP3, and this is for spotting what you're actually looking at. I used this outside before and I was surprised at how clear the image was, especially for a cheap little monocular like this. The head is made of aluminium, but the other part of the body and what have you is made of plastic. And if you want to get one with the WP3, I'll also link that in the video description. All right, so here are some other LEP flashlights in my collection. And this is the Nextorch T20L, which I would say is quite a similar size, but the Astrolux is probably just a touch longer and the battery tube is a bit wider as well, but otherwise quite similar in size. And I've got the Nextorch T10L here as well, plus the Fastlight Versabel, which is a small LEP flashlight, well, a smaller one compared to these ones. Anyway, the smaller ones are much easier to pocket, but you're not going to get as much range as these larger bezel ones here. So here's a little close-up of the Astrolux WP3, and overall the build quality is pretty good. And you can see here there's some kind of aggressive knurling there, makes it quite grippy because, yeah, the anodizing itself is shiny, a little bit shiny, smooth. There's some cutouts here on the side of the head here just to aid with heat dissipation, and maybe some cosmetic ones there further up on the head. But otherwise, it's a pretty simple sort of design. And if you look inside here, you've got a chunky double spring that's going to aid in improving current flow. And down the head there's no spring, there's just a normal copper contact at the base. The Astrolux WP3 is operated via this side switch. It also functions as a battery indicator, a charging indicator as well, and you also get a USB-C charging port here on the back. Here's a little peek under the bezel, and you can see the aspheric lens sitting underneath this piece of glass on the front, and it does look like anti-reflective glass that has maybe some type of coating on it. And the bezel here is very nice. Indeed, it's stainless steel. And you can see it's slightly crenulated, but it's not sharp at all. And like I mentioned before, the WP3 uses a mirror type LEP module. So yeah, instead of the shine through module on some other LEP flashlights out there, and these modules seem to be the best performing ones if you're looking for the, I guess, the furthest throwing LEP flashlight. As you can see, the head diameter is pretty chunky. It's 59 millimeters, so something that you won't really be able to fit in your pocket, maybe your jacket pocket. When you turn it on, it always starts in high. And if you press again, you can alternate between high and low. Any point you can double press and you can go into the turbo mode, press and hold to turn off. Now from off, you can double press and go straight into turbo as well. Triple press, you get a strobe. And that's it. Okay, so I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests with the Astrolux WP3. This is the first test on the turbo mode, so 562 lumens. And you can see here, it starts off on 100%. And around the 13-minute mark, the light just completely shut off. And I reactivated again, double pressed for turbo, and you can see it starts up again. Get just under a minute and then it turns off, and the same thing happens a third time round. So I thought this was a little bit strange, as normally when the light overheats it will just step down to a much lower level rather than turn off completely. Here's a second ceiling bounce test on the high mode, and you can see the light starts off at 100% and at the 30-minute mark it's on about 95% output. So some pretty good sustained output there. Also ran some tests with my Audible Lightmaster Pro, and you can see here on turbo, I measured 3,133 meters of range. Pretty insane. Now, interestingly, the high mode, I got 2,947 meters of range. So there's really not much difference at all there. Maybe, yeah, it definitely isn't something that's super perceptible. And the CRI range from 55 to 57, more on the low end, and CCT was on the cool end, so 6,300 to 7,300. So some considerations to keep in mind if you're thinking of getting the Astrolux WP3. The light does shut off after 10 plus minutes of use on turbo, like I was demonstrating before on the ceiling bounce tests. And I did some research about this. I read a review on One Lumen about the Mate Minco FW1, and it seems like this light has the same new driver in it, which results in some overheating on turbo. However, there are no issues on the high mode, which produces very similar range. Like I mentioned, 2.9 versus 3.1 kilometers. So yeah, you could probably just treat the turbo as an overdrive mode. Maybe they've pushed it a little bit too far on that turbo mode. But yeah, I mean, I'm unsure whether running this light on turbo for extended periods, reactivating it consistently will cause any damage, but yeah, a few minutes at least should be fine. The second consideration is the UI. I wish this light had a tail switch or something for momentary activation. It just feels like it should have a tail switch. And yeah, wish also that there was some kind of electronic lock on here, maybe like a quad click or something like that. Rather than having to unscrew the tail slightly. But yeah, that's another way, just mechanically lock the light out, unscrew the tail. And I do think a normal one-click switch on and off UI would have been better. So yeah, if you turn off, you have to press and hold. I think it just would have been better to, do that press and hold to switch modes rather than, yeah, press and hold, turn off. The third consideration is that on the high and the turbo mode, you're going to get a lot shorter run times than with a standard LED flashlight. So it's not the kind of light that you want to keep on for very, very long periods unless you have a few spare cells. Being an LEP flashlight, this is really optimized for long range performance. There's no flood whatsoever, and the beam is not high CRI. So it's really just for long range spotting if you need to look at something very far away. The final consideration is that this LEP flashlight is fairly big and heavy compared to smaller LEP flashlights out there. Here's a smaller one, for example. So it's not something that you can really pocket, but at the end of the day, the range that you get out of this is unbeatable. Overall, there's just no question about it. The Astrolux WP3 is one of the best performing and best value single cell LEP flashlights you can get right now. And yeah, that's in terms of overall performance. I had a look at some other competitors, and it's about a third of the price of the Well-Tool W4 Pro and has very similar range. So yeah, I think that's great value. And if you want a true lightsaber kind of beam and you don't mind that there's zero spill, I think this is incredible value and a excellent tool for long range spotting, search and rescue, or if you just looking for the sheer fun of owning one of the farthest flowing flashlights out there. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm interested to hear, and if you have any questions, also comment below and I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, do me a favor, click the like button and share it with someone who might be interested. This helps me to get the video out to more people. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews, keep up to date with the latest flashlight news, make sure you subscribe. Alright, so I'm out here at the normal beam shot location, and I've got the Astrolux WP3, and as you can see, the sun has literally just come down on the horizon line, but with the WP3,
you can already see it reaching the end, and that's the kind of low mode. You've got a high mode and also a turbo mode, which is just slightly brighter. It's actually raining a little bit, but it's amazing that you can actually spot the beam like all the way out in the back, even though, you know, it's still fairly well lit. It's a very small hotspot. Didn't expect it to rain today, but looks like it is, unfortunately. But I'm going to continue on and see kind of objects that are a bit lighter. They do light up a bit more. And what I'll do as well, I'll just continually take some more beam shots as the sun goes down to show you kind of what this thing looks like. But yeah, pretty amazing. The only flashlight that you can use during the day if you're mad enough like me. Alright, so it's a little darker now, and this is the low mode, high mode, and you can see how it just picks up that flag right at the end of the golf course. Sort of lighter coloured things reflect back more light. Turbo mode, which is only a little bit throwier actually than the high mode, but I'll take it. Be awesome once it gets proper dark. Alright, so the sun is down officially and there's a little bit of twilight left, so let's give this a crack. Now I've got the Astrolux WP3 on high, and that's your low mode, still managing to reach the other side pretty easily. Double press for turbo. So yeah, that is low, high, and turbo. Oops, low, high, and then turbo. So actually the turbo is just slightly brighter, you can barely tell. So like high and then turbo, it is a little bit brighter. Now this is the low mode, which gets to about maybe 1.3 kilometers, and I also have my Vastlight Versa bow here to the right, and this is on the highest mode. Now the Vastlight Versa bow has a range of about 1.2 to 1.3 kilometers, and you can see even on the low mode the WP3 is keeping up in terms of range. But yeah, the Vastlight has a much wider beam in comparison. This WP3 is like super focused in. And back to the high mode. That's that flag again at the back. And there's a couple of cranes there in the distance. Let's shine the WP3 up there. You can see it hitting the crane. I was back there a little while ago. The beam is actually this visible in the sky on top of that building. Low, high, turbo. It's way too intense when you shine it on stuff close up. I've had to lower the ISO of my camera so that it doesn't just look too ridiculously bright. Alright, it's completely dark now and I've got this beautiful view of the Melbourne skyline. I came here to do my last LEP shots, and here is the WP3 on high, and you can see it pick up these little reflecty parts there on the side of the road, and these trees, it's managing to get to those trees pretty easily. I've also put it on the low mode, it's able to reach to the end as well, so that's high, low, high and turbo, just a little bit of extra range. And just go to the left here, some of these trees, it's yeah, this is insane. You just see it through the sky like that. It's even in the water, it like does this weird thing where it lights up. It's like almost as if the water absorbs the light and diffuses it. And if you shine the light below the water and then sort of point it just below a building, you can see it actually reflects the light up onto the buildings here, or that one building anyway, and the trees here as well. Amazing performance. It's the kind of crane or something there in the distance, and you can see it's managing to light up the crane. Look at that crane. See if it gets the ones to the back here. Yep, it is tinting those ones as well. You know, it all depends on the atmospheric conditions, and I'm in the city as well, so there's a fair bit of light pollution and smog and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're out in the country or out further, this thing will be able to throw a lot more further back into the distance. And another comparison here, I'm going to pop it on the low mode, the WP3 in the low mode here, and on the right I've got my Vastlight Versa bow, which is has about half the range, but on this mode here should approximate the low mode on the WP3. So you can see very kind of similar performance, except it has like a wider beam. The shine through module versus a mirror kind of design module, and that's your high mode on the WP3, and this is as high as you can go here on the right with the Versa bow. So that's as high as you can go. I'm going to go to even the turbo there, so you can see the difference is, yeah, it's like night and day really. It's twice the range, and yeah. So if you do want that pencil thin beam and incredible performance, there's really no beating this larger bezel and that mirror module.